Well, hello there. My name is Christopher Scott, and I serve as an associate pastor at a local church overseeing small groups ministry. And in this video, I want to talk to you about what to do with silence in your small group. What to do with silence in your small group. Let's say you are a small group facilitator. You've spent a couple hours throughout the week preparing to facilitate a great discussion. You've read your Bible passage, you've worked through the questions, you've looked up that passage in a good commentary and study Bible and studied a little bit. You're ready to facilitate a discussion through the passage using your questions. So you get to the group, you read the passage in the group, then you ask your question to the group. And you ask it, and you put it out there, and nobody says anything. Silence. So first thing I want to do is I want to tell you silence is okay in your small group. In this video, I want to talk to you about why there might be silence in your small group, what you do not want to do with that silence, and what you do want to do with that silence. So why is there silence in your group, what you don't want to do, and how to navigate that silence are three things I'm going to talk to you about in this video for you as a small group facilitator. So number one, why is silence okay in your small group? There's 5 reasons that there might be silence in your small group. 5 different reasons. Number one, people might not have understood the question you asked. You put it out there, they might have just not understood it. Second reason, there might be some new people in your group, right? If you have 4 people in your group, 2 of them are new, those 2 new people are gonna be reluctant to share, so they might not wanna talk, and that might be why you have some silence. A third reason there might be silence is it is a personal question. The question you ask might be very personal, and so people might not want to share some things from their own personal lives. We live in a culture where people are very willing to talk about sports or talk about politics or talk about the weather, things out here, but when it comes to talking about things in our own personal lives, people are a little less forthcoming. So that might be a third reason that there's silence, is it's a very personal question. A fourth reason there might be silence is it is a good question. Let's say you ask that question and the group knows this is a really good question. People might not speak up right away because they want to make sure they give the question justice and answer it correctly and really ponder that good question. And lastly, the fifth reason there might be silence in your small group is they might not know the correct answer. It might be a really good question, or it's a theological or biblical question, and they think there's really only a right or wrong answer, so they don't want to answer it unless they really know that they have that right answer. So that's 5 reasons that you might have silence in your small group. People might not understand the question. There might be some new people in the group. The question might be very personal. It might be a good question, or they might not know if they have the correct answer. So you have that silence in your small group. What do you not want to do with the silence in your small group? 2 things you do not want to do with silence in your small group. Number one, don't answer the question yourself. You ask that question, you put it out there, nobody says anything. The first thing you're going to want to do as a facilitator is jump in and start to answer the question to warm them up and get them to talk. But then once you answer the question, you're the facilitator. Why should they answer the question if you just answered it and just gave the right answer? So don't answer the question yourself. That is very, very important on how to navigate silence. Second thing you do not want to do with silence is don't call on someone specifically to answer the question. That's another tendency. Well, I'll just call on Bill. I know he'll answer. Let that silence be. Don't call on someone specifically to answer a question. Now, there are times in a small group you might want to call on someone or give them permission to talk. If they look confused, you might call that person out a little bit and say, you look confused, do you have something you want to talk about? Or if someone's trying to speak up, they look like they have something to say, but other people keep talking over them, that's another time you will call on someone and let them share. But in this case, when there is silence, you don't want to call on people to answer the question. So 2 things you don't want to do with silence. Don't answer the question yourself, and don't call on other people to answer it. So what do you do with silence? How do you navigate that silence? 3 things. Let it be. First thing, let it be. Just let that silence sit out there for 5 or 10 seconds. It will feel like an hour. It will feel like you're gonna die, but you're not. You'll be okay. Just let that silence simmer out there. Everybody will be awkward and squirming. That's okay. Silence occurs. You just want to let it be. Second thing you want to do if you have silence is ask the question again. Like I shared those 5 reasons there might be silence. A couple of them are just that people might not have understood, or maybe they were daydreaming a little bit, or whatever that might be. You want to just ask the question again. And maybe if you want to, rephrase it slightly or change it a little bit to make it more understandable and a little more simple if needed, okay? So ask the question again. Third thing you want to do is move on to the next question. Most study guides, at least at our church that we use, usually have 10 or 15 questions per lesson per week, which is a lot to get through. You got plenty of questions you can work through. So if you feel like the group is struggling with the question or not getting it, just move on. Go on to the next question and keep going. So 3 things you want to do with silence. Let it be. Just let it be for 5 or 10 seconds. Ask the question again, and if the group is still struggling, just move on. So that's what I wanted to share with you here in this video. Silence is okay in your small group. I want to tell you why you get silence in your group, what not to do, and what to do. And I hope this helps you as a small group facilitator learn how to facilitate a good discussion, how to get people talking in your group, and how for you, I don't want you to feel like a failure when you ask questions in your group and nobody responds. Silence happens in all groups. It's okay. These are some practical tips that I have shared with you to help you navigate that silence. Thanks for watching. My name is Christopher Scott again. Thanks for watching. I hope to catch you again on another video.